Hi, Ankit. Thank you so much for giving us your time. For the viewers, may we request you to please share your journey and your story in your own words?
For sure. So basically, I would go back to 2016.
Mm-hmm.
That is when I first started my GMAT prep. I gave my GMAT, applied for a bunch of schools.
Mm-hmm.
But in my case, I would say that in my first applications, I did not get any school. And then next year in 2017, I applied again. And maybe later on in the interview, I can tell what I did right and what I did not do right, because I believe that would be very important for
Mm-hmm.
everyone who wants to get into a B school in US.
Right.
So I redid my applications in 2017. I got into Simon Business School, University of Rochester.
That's
I got an
amazing.
admit with scholarship.
Oh, wow.
That's when in 2018 my MBA journey started.
Right.
It was a great experience. Those 2 years were amazing.
Wow.
And I did my internship, my summer internship at FedEx in its strategic pricing division.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, then for my full time, I went to Staples. I worked as a pricing project manager. I was focusing on building and executing pricing strategies for Staples' e-commerce business.
Mm-hmm.
Then close to 1.5 years into that role, I wanted to make a switch.
Mm-hmm.
Consulting was something that was always something I wanted to get into.
All
And
right.
that's when I realized that I have a good amount of experience. I have a good MBA,
Mm-hmm.
and I tried. That's when I started my a job search again.
All right.
And I interviewed at few of the consulting firms, including McKinsey,
Mm-hmm.
where I gave my final round, but that didn't materialize. But right now I'm working for Simon Kucher and Partners, which is another management consulting firm
Mm-hmm. That's
focusing on top line. But primary focus is pricing, packaging,
right.
sales, and marketing.
All right.
So it's been good 4 months, and I'm thoroughly enjoying my time as a consultant here in a consulting firm,
Mm.
working long hours, but learning has been like simply amazing.
That's awesome. And it's quite inspiring as well, like how you've actually come such a long way, finding your passion and completing your success story. So, in your opinion, what are a few factors or actions you took that made all the difference?
Probably one thing is I always stuck to what I really wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, initially when I did not get any admit from anywhere, that is when I did not really stop. I still wanted to do an MBA.
Mm-hmm.
So probably one thing that I would say is like if there's something I really wanted to go do, then you may have to give your 100%, and at times that 100% may not be enough.
Mm-hmm.
That is when you have to look back and realize what is something that you did wrong,
All right.
and then you have to come again with a better strategy, reach out to a lot of people. I believe like biggest thing that I did was I reached out to a lot of people throughout my journey, basically even during my job search, even doing my re-job search after my MBA.
Mm.
So that's what I would say. Networking is very important for anyone who is applying for an MBA program. That doesn't start from the moment you get into the school, but that starts from the moment you realize you want to do an MBA.
Right.
And second thing is like failures should not really uh, stop you from achieving anything, basically. So like in my case, it was first the MBA program, though I did not get, but eventually I got. Second
Right.
was I went to get into consulting. That did not work in my MBA, but it worked afterwards.
Right.
So yep, I would say like staying focused and being determined is an important thing.
Right. It's amazing how never giving up is a great way to actually put your step forward in the ladder of success. So, with the benefit of hindsight, what are a few mistakes you believe you committed in the process?
Probably one of the biggest mistakes that I did was not realize. It's very important to realize that where you stand, it's good to be very ambitious,
Yeah.
but at the same time, you have to be realistic.
Right.
Probably when I started my whole journey, I was over ambitious, and I still remember like when I reached out to experts global.
Mm-hmm.
That was probably my re time, my second time when I was doing my application essays and everything.
Mm-hmm.
That in my first time, I applied to all the top schools.
Right.
basically. And later on, I realized how important it is. Like everyone says that you have to look for your top schools, realistic schools, and all of that.
Right.
So I was probably very overambitious at that time that I would only go for top schools and all. Later on, when I spoke to a lot of people, I realized that one of the best part about US MBA programs is it doesn't matter which school you are from. It matters is how skillful you are,
Right.
how good can you network,
Mm-hmm.
how good your stories are, and
Right.
are you a right fit. That is what is most important. That
Mm-hmm.
is something that I realized very late. For me,
Okay.
it was like, no, I just want a big school, big school, big school. So
Okay.
in the hindsight, that is one of the biggest things that I would say is it's
Right.
good to be ambitious,
Mm-hmm.
but at the same time, you have to be very realistic.
Right.
And it doesn't matter like if you are from top five schools,
Mm-hmm.
whichever school you are from, if you have the skills, then you will eventually end up at where you really want to be.
Absolutely. Okay. So, what would you like to say about your experience and learnings from managing the application timeline?
I mean, it gets stressful at the end, basically managing the deadlines.
Right.
But I would strongly recommend people to not wait till the deadline day
Okay.
because you do not know what might happen.
Right.
Just for example, I was applying for Rotten Business School as well, and it has this video essay component.
Right.
And I was like, I was waiting for my deadline, and on my final day, I had my office asked me to fly to Kuwait for some work,
Oh,
and I was like, I planned the evening for that, but I have to take a flight,
right.
so I could not really finish my essay
Mm-hmm.
on that day, and I missed my deadline, so I had to apply for second round.
All right.
So that's why one of the biggest things that I would say is A, do not wait all the way till the deadline.
Right.
B, networking. Networking is extremely essential.
Mm-hmm.
If whatever your schools are, not just dream schools, but even the realistic schools,
Mm-hmm.
you should network because it is very important to understand what the school is all about, what school offers, and what will you get, what will be your takeaways from the school.
Right.
If you can show that in your applications, it really helps.
Okay.
And so basically in my MBA program, in my second year, I was also an admissions ambassador taking interviews for a lot of MS intake batch for Simon Business School. And
That's
that is when
amazing.
I realized that being on the other side, you realize that who is a better fit for any school, a person who has done good research and person who can convey that I know what school has to offer and this is how I can contribute to the school.
Right.
That is where you find the biggest match,
Mm-hmm.
and you really feel good about that person and you feel that that person can contribute for the school's community.
Right.
So in the application process, one thing is like not wait all the way till the deadline.
Mm-hmm.
Second thing is networking and doing a lot of research about the school.
All right.
And like as far as the essays is concerned, then I'm pretty sure if you take services for any consultancies, then they would really help.
Okay.
But it's up a candidate has to do all the other things. Basically, he has to do the networking so that he can give those inputs. And beautification is something that other people can do. That's where I would not focus a lot on.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm a candidate, I would just focus on identifying what my schools are and just reach out to a lot of people to understand what the school has to offer.
Right. Okay. So, would you like to describe your interview experience with the B school?
Oh yes, basically, I can talk about like Simon Business School itself. My interview was with yes one of the interviewers, and I remember when we started. So he just came back with the so basically a school has a some sort of trek where they go to South Africa,
All right.
and so this person who was taking my interview also went with the students for a 2 week program to South Africa. He was basically promoting the school while other students were there doing the classes and all of that. So
Right.
on a conversation, it started with that he just said that he came back from South Africa, and I was also back from South Africa a couple of weeks back for my work.
All
So our first 5 minutes were all about what's great about place, good food, all of that. So
mm-hmm.
that was sort of an icebreaker for me,
Right.
and then it was like the usual questions about the behavioral questions like why MBA, what are your career goals, and what you will bring to the community, and all the other things. But it
Right.
was more conversational.
Okay.
And that has been my experience that
Yeah.
uh, any MBA admissions ambassador is just looking to have a conversation,
Mm-hmm.
and because that's what an MBA experience is all about. You have conversations with your classmates, with your peers, with your professors,
Right.
and eventually in your
Mm-hmm.
networking, you're having conversations with the people who will help you get jobs. In your interviews also, I feel a lot of conversations that have happened.
Right.
So if a person is good in having those conversations, then he is a good fit.
All
So
right.
my experience was I had a very good conversation,
Okay.
and that really materialized. And at the end of the interview, I realized that, yeah, it was a good conversation. There was something different that I felt about this interview, and
Mm-hmm.
I was positive.
Right.
Likewise, I gave interview at some other business schools as well at that time when I was applying. And everywhere, that's the one thing that I stuck to, that instead of just me talking, I will have it very conversational.
Right.
And that was my experience of my interview MBA. Like questions are all the same. Like, tell us something about you, why MBA, why this and why that. But
Right.
what matters is whenever you're answering this, something like this, are you having that conversational tone or not, basically?
All right. Okay. So we would love to know more about your MBA experience.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much that happened in those 2 years. Probably, I would say every semester was very different. Uh,
Okay.
like the excitement of coming to US,
Right.
meeting classmates,
Mm-hmm.
getting overwhelmed by the fact that there are few students in the class who already have jobs.
Right.
And but then, yep, it's a big cultural difference. It's networking is something that doesn't come to us, to Indian folks. We are not, that doesn't come naturally to us. So when you attend your first conference, job conference, and then you realize that you have to go out and talk to people, introduce yourself, and show your interest,
Mm-hmm.
was difficult,
Okay.
but it was fun. It was fun.
Okay.
It takes like a month to really adjust to that. But once you do, then you have really good conversations with people and you realize that what all you can achieve.
Right.
So that was one part. Second thing, like, yeah, learning experience was great. Like in an MBA program, you learn a lot from your peers. So all the classes had a lot of discussions, cases, and whatnot. And in a B school, there are a lot of parties also that happen. There are a lot of networking events, a lot of club activities.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yep, I mean, you work from Monday to Friday
Right.
to in your academics, in your extracurriculars, in your club events,
Mm-hmm.
and in your networking, job search. And
Right.
Friday night and Saturday night, you go out and party, drink till how
That's
much ever you
amazing.
want to drink.
Right.
And Sunday is just getting ready for the next week of work. But
Right.
it gets hectic, but it depends on you how hectic you want to make it.
Okay.
If you want to be part of like 5 clubs,
Mm-hmm.
then it would be very hectic for you. If you want to be part of like 1 or 2 clubs, it would be
Mm-hmm.
less hectic. But it all depends. It's very important to prioritize in an MBA program.
Mm-hmm.
But all in all, it's like a good cultural mix that an MBA program offers in a class, and you get to learn a lot, basically.
Okay. It's quite an wholesome experience, I think.
Yep. And I mean, yeah, it was a great experience, basically.
Okay. So, can you please tell us more about your job search experience during the MBA and what tips will you give to the future candidates regarding their job search?
Yep, sure. So basically, like before I started my MBA,
Mm-hmm.
actually got into my school. A lot of people do say that it's good to have a clear career goal in mind
Right.
so that you can start from day one.
Mm-hmm.
In my case, I was not 100% sure. Uh, Consulting was something I really wanted to do,
Mm-hmm.
but product management excited me. Marketing was something I really wanted to get into. Marketing analytics was one thing, and
Mm-hmm.
pricing was another thing that was of my interest because that's where I did my pre-MBA experience was more into sales. So I was interested to be part of still being associated with the top line aspect of anything and all.
Okay.
So that was a mindset I went with. And first 2 months, I was just talking to a lot of people to understand what each of these roles have to offer.
All right.
What a product manager's job responsibilities would be, what a marketing person's responsibility would be, what a pricing person's responsibility would be.
Okay.
And that's how I realized that what I really want. eventually I wanted a more analytical driven role because that was something that I had never worked on before. And that is something that is required in the industry.
Mm-hmm.
That's why for my internship, I went to FedEx where I knew that my internship will be very data heavy and I'll be working on analytical tools.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
that was FedEx. And eventually I had the final offer. I had the offer from FedEx, but then I got Staples, which was a
Right.
good mix of strategy plus analytics, something that I really wanted to get into.
Okay.
So look, and then so that was me about realizing what kind of role do I want.
Right.
And one of the advice that I would give anyone who's getting into an MBA program is if you're sure from
Mm-hmm.
day one, that's great.
Right.
If you are not, then the best way is to reach out to all the people, like particularly people who have graduated in the last 2 years
Mm-hmm.
in different roles to understand.
Right.
Second aspect about my job search was networking, which is the most important thing in MBA program to get a job, which is reach out to a lot of alums, reach out to other folks to
Mm.
show your interest and ask if there is any opening and if you can be a good fit. If so, ask for referral.
Okay.
And that is there for any role. You can get to consulting, investment banking, product management, analytics, or anywhere.
Right.
So these are the two essential things.
Okay.
And then apart from that, it's all the resume building and interview process, interview prep that someone who gets into the program would eventually do automatically because that is what will help them event. That's the most important thing to get a job.
Right.
But that's what I would say. Like
Mm-hmm.
it was first A, identifying what I really wanted, B, networking, and then comes resume and interview prep and all of that.
Right. Okay. So coming back to your post MBA journey, can you tell us about how the entire pre-application experience as well as your MBA journey contributed to your growth post MBA?
I would say that any whatever you're learning now in the pre-MBA application process is the foundation stone.
Right.
Whatever you are doing right now to get into an MBA program
Right.
is the exact same thing you will be doing now, doing later after you graduate also to find a job, which is A, build your resume,
Mm-hmm.
B, prep your stories, behaviorals and technical both, which you have to do right now. It's the same set of questions.
Right.
Instead of why MBA, the person would say, why do you want to get into consulting? Or why do you want to get into Staples? Or why do you want to get into Amazon?
Yeah.
So it's just the same thing. So once anyone enrolls into this journey of getting into a B school should realize that this is a journey that will be there forever for any job change or any process into the career like eventually.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I would say that uh, pre-MBA application does help because that is the first exposure that one gets to this whole process.
Right.
Secondly, the whole MBA experience, it does help because that's where you learn the technicality of business. That's when
Right.
you learn all the jargons which you use in your interviews. That's where you learn the networking. That's where you learn to know how to talk to someone who's at the VP level that you are giving your interview to.
Mm-hmm.
That's the place where you learn how to do casing
Right.
and your internship experience and all of that.
Okay.
So that's how an MBA helped. And the biggest takeaway from an MBA is the network.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say, for example, I gave my interview at Simon Kucher, and it
Mm-hmm.
materialized because of one of the alums, because I reached out to him, I showed my interest, and he referred me. I got my interviews, and then it was like casing and all of that, for
Right.
which also a few of my classmates and my seniors helped me.
Okay.
Even after graduating, like even
Right.
after graduating after 1 year, I reached out to a few of my friends who were really good at caching to give me help. So another thing that MBA really helps in job search is giving you that network, giving you that connections to whom you
Mm-hmm.
can reach out like anytime for any sort of help.
Wow, that's amazing. So, what would be those few common mistakes that you would advise all the aspirants to avoid?
Mistakes, if I have to say something about mistakes,
Right.
then that would be like not to lose focus. That is one important thing. Not to take a lot of stress. If you're scoring like 50 out of 52 in quant, but if you're scoring like 50, if you're not scoring 50 or 52 in work, well, that's absolutely fine.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, practice, but do not overdo it as well. Do not take a lot of stress. But as I said, like it's important to know what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, and work on that. But I don't know, like I'm not really sure what mistakes can be done at GMAT case. In my case, it was like
Yeah,
I knew my quant is good. I was focusing on quant. Okay, from 51, I have to go to 52. That would make a lot of difference. But actually, what difference created is from 32 to 37 or 35 in a verbal.
right.
So
Okay,
that would be something. Having a good balance of your preparation is important.
right. And what would be your final message or suggestion to all the viewers watching this video?
Yep, sure. So probably one thing that I would say is like the 2 years of MBA program is amazing. It's a great learning curve. It's a great place to really. It's a steep learning curve, and you do not just learn in one stream. Basically, if you want to get into consulting, it's not just that you learn only the consulting courses. You learn everything.
Yeah.
Second biggest thing is the network. The network that you get into an MBA program stays with you for life,
Mm-hmm.
and you never know which of your classmates can become a director of a firm which is of your interest, and there is another director position that is open, and that person can eventually help you a lot into getting to that director position basically. So it's a network that is for life, and it's experience. I mean, it gives you very few sleepless nights. No, I would say that few nights where you get very less sleep,
Uh-huh.
but it's all worth it because you would be doing something really good. Either you are enjoying or you're working for a dream job, or you are working on a case competition for which you might end up getting $5,000 as a prize money.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all great, and keep that as an inspiration of the kind of life that you will get.
Mm-hmm.
And after you graduate, also you have a lot of opportunities,
Right.
irrespective of whatever school you are from.
Mm-hmm.
And like the prep may get stressful. It's a long process. You first have to prep for GMAT, then you have to write your essays, then you have to give your interviews, then you have to uh, like give more interviews, try to get a better school, and then you have admit, then you prep to come to US, which again, it's a big step. Then you have a stress of getting the visa, and then you come here. So it's a long process. It's a long one and
Mm-hmm.
a half year process, but eventually it's all worth it.
Right. Well, yeah, all's well that ends well. So, and your journey actually has been very inspiring. Congratulations on completing your journey like on such a successful note. And we're really, really happy that you actually gave us your time and you interviewed with us and shared your experiences. So, thank
Sure.
you so much. And yeah, have a good night and take
Thank
care.
you. Yeah. Thanks so much. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay.
Bye.
Goodbye.